the Game of Thrones thing and like the Daenerys Targaryen freeing slaves thing, like in the sex trafficking, like I wonder if that's what's actually happening. Is this like I have like a relationship with England and like I think what's happening though is this like for example, like if somebody is to because like I don't think that I'm actually like African American. And so like I don't know what I'm descended from because like Tarzan is hanging out with Kala and like she finds this baby in a tree and I was like I have my baby picture and I am not African American, like that was like a Persian baby. And so I think that what's happening is probably that like I'm like hanging out with like I like have this relationship with like these English people and these like British people, and it's kind of just like you're in a relationship where like you're in a relationship with someone that's lazy. Like I think that's probably what's happening is it's like I'm like this Persian guy who's in a relationship with these like British guys that are lazy and they have slaves and I don't really like fuck their slaves. And I think that that's the whole point of what's happening in America is that it's like I'm like in a relationship with these like British guys, but they're lazy and they have slaves, and I'm like, dude, like this is fucking obnoxious. Like I think that that's literally what's happening. I'm just like you're really lazy and like I don't really like I'm not interested in your slaves, and so it's like it's taking a long time to do everything because you're lazy and you have slaves, and it's really obnoxious. That's what's happening, isn't it? Okay, so remember, life is coming from you, not at you. Which again, not wholly true, but not wholly inaccurate. You just have to realize there's a balance to these things. So it's like people are going to like people are interacting with you, but again, that's the point. It's because that's the point of the damn thing. Because that's like that is true, but someone is also taking advantage of that. So it's like you have to balance that out. So both of these things are true. And this is the thing, So is David Leroy Jackson the third? Was that King Charles in disguise? Like is that the truth? I don't know. I don't really care, honestly. Like to be totally honest. It's like this will give you the right to project your feelings of hatred. Like 'cause that's what it was. I was having hate sex with David Jackson. This is so funny. I will show myself with power. So it's so funny. But no, this is actually interesting because maybe that's why it was important that they did this because it's like it's not necessarily that like because there are people who are attracted to me even though I have a cat. That's the whole point of the neighborhood show. But I don't think it's attractive, and so I think that that's kind of what's happening. That also proves to people that like self worth and self esteem and stuff is a two-way street. So it's like it doesn't matter. That was what was happening with the Beast and the Spoiled Prince. It's actually kind of why it was important because like it doesn't matter if like if you think that a person is beautiful because that's just you talking to yourself. But like that person has to feel beautiful as well. That's the whole point of it. That's why it wasn't working. Is because there are people in these one-sided relationships where they only like it was like, oh well, I think you're beautiful, but yeah, but that person's self-esteem doesn't come from you though. Like I think that was the whole point of it, and that's why they like um had me have this gap probably is because it's like I did not live most of my life like finding myself all that attractive. Although I do think my body is attractive, which is part of the test, is that they were trying to see what things I was actually insecure about. And so if they were all things that weren't natural that somebody actually did, then it's like that's not really an insecurity. That's like a physical pain. And so like I think that that's kind of what was happening is we had to teach each other that like if I was like an emissary or something, I had to teach people that yeah, this is what happened while I had this gap is that it's like I learned that like you have to like a person's self worth is like originates within. That's what it is. Beauty is found within. So it's like it doesn't really matter that there were people who were like, oh, I think you're so attractive even if you have this gap or even if you don't have it or whatever. Because it's like yeah, but it's that's the whole point of a relationship is that like um you have to have like a person has to have independence, and a person has to have their own self worth. Like being like living inside somebody else's life is not like that's not a life. And so like somebody who's telling you like, oh, you're beautiful and you're attractive, even if that is 100% true, like that they genuinely feel that way. Like it doesn't matter if that person doesn't feel that way about themselves. So it's like you have to have self worth, and you have to have people like have the like LH lifestyle. Like oh, my birthmark. So now we can go over some like author summaries of that. And so like um you have people have to have their own self worth. And so it's like even if you are like consistently like reinforcing that you think someone is beautiful, if that person does not feel beautiful, then it doesn't really matter. Because that's the whole point, is that it's like people have to realize that like if you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody, you can't have like all of your self-worth coming from how they think about you, or you can't have all of your and you can't think that your partner's self-worth all comes from what you think about them. And I think that that's why it's important, and I think that was why the gap thing was important, is because like that was kind of what I learned. It's like it didn't matter in the Blue Neighborhood trilogy that Troy wants to kiss me with this gap, because I am not the religion. I'm not the same religion as him, and so like it doesn't have the like I'm not having the experience of like this like religious experience that he is. And so it's like it's that one-sided thing, like what I was saying, is that it's like he is like, oh yeah, well like this is a beautiful thing. It's like a symbol of how strong you are. Like you survived this thing, and like you like it's like you are symbolizing that you are really powerful and strong, and like you are like again also like the crown. That's what this is. The season 6, the crown is this on the 14th. And so like I figured that out too. Is that like that's what's happening? Is I'm in this Israel test because I posted those SARS, and I'm doing the crown test because I heavy is the head that wears the crown. That's why I had to stop pretending to be Dolores. Because that was just distracting. But like that's what it is. Like I'm wearing this crown, and like I'm wearing this crown, and like I am uh like I'm wearing this crown, and like that's what the test is, to see if I can be awake, like Sleeping Beauty, and to see if I can be awake, and because Sleeping Beauty and the Sword in the Stone, that's the same kingdom. And so like the test is to see if I can be awake and to see if I can actually wear the crown and actually carry this, and also wear it despite all of the people who were A competing for it, and then B trying to take it off of me because they were depressed that I was wearing it. So it's like that was the whole point. Is that I had to wear it like that, like this whole time. And so like I need to see if when season 5 of The Crown came out. I don't know if that came out while I was here or not. That was the whole point. And like I also figured out that like the Sword in the Stone, I think a lot of the reason I was getting animosity when I was a child was because like I pulled that sword out of the stone as a baby, and there were a lot of my like brethren who were like, well I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to be the king by birth. And so like that was what was happening. But that was when we were children. It's like that doesn't matter anymore. But like now it's depressing because it's like not only like because again that was a childish thing that I think a lot of people got over like instantly. Like I think a lot of people got over that like when we were kids. Like I don't think anybody actually cares about that anymore because they have seen for a very long time that you were more capable naturally like by birth than a lot of people. Like I was what Dante was talking about with my natural talent. But most people don't care about that. And so I think that what's happening is most of the people that you have met were more just like depressed as fuck because like you were wearing this crown, and a lot of them probably thought that you were gonna die, and probably would have preferred that than to have to watch this horrible shit. So I mean that makes sense. But yeah, so like that's kind of what's happening now. I figured that out. So like I'm wearing this crown, and it's awesome because it's not that heavy anymore. But like I think that's what it is. Like it's my brain is really the crown. Like I'm wearing these headphones and just augmenting it, and it was healing my brain. But that's the whole point. My brain is the crown, and like they knew that I had this big brain. They knew that I had this, like these brain muscles, and that I was really powerful. But like it was really just a matter of like, can I carry it though? There have been plenty of people who were intelligent throughout history. There have been plenty of people who were persuasive throughout history. There have been plenty of people who were powerful throughout history. But like it's it incorporates a lot of things like hubris and humility and like performance. Because like even somebody who is like a great king or a great leader or whatever, like they're like human attributes can get the best of them. That happens to everybody. And so, and also just like being attentive and aware enough that you have an Achilles heel, like an exploitable weakness. That was also probably why it was important that I wrote that Bring Metaphors to Heal song, because that was showing people, like Eugene, you're still in there. Like that was showing people that that you are attentive, you are aware that you have an Achilles heel. You also wrote that while you were in a relationship with somebody that you were very much in love with. And so like I think that that was the whole point of the story, is that it's like you told people that you had this exploitable weakness, and then they came to test it, and it's working, so it's fine. But like, I think that that was the whole point. And so it's like it's not that big of a deal. It's just that it's like I'm wearing this crown, and you supposed to be aware that like your humanity can get the best of you, and even if it's not like a like something that is um even if it's not something that will like totally like annihilate you or anything, like somebody can like exploit a very small thing because you like let your guard down. And that was the whole point of the Enchanted Forest story of Frozen. And so like that makes so much sense actually, because like I always have been very proficient, but it's just a matter of they had to test me on a human level of like, are you going to be able to like my Sims games, my Minecraft games, like these things that I've been practicing and training, like are you going to be able to actually lead people? Like can you lead others? That's what Elizabeth said in Dune. Like can you lead others? And it's like yeah, but also can you be aware that there are going to be assassination attempts and murder plots and propaganda and just garbage and like can you like be human, like um can you like have a lasting relationship with the common people, can you tell them that like you were pretending to uh pretending to like love their culture and stuff or like because for example like that was what Marjorie said, but you didn't say that because it was like the picture says a thousand words thing. Like you had to come and take your rightful place as king, which I think is being the king of you and like speaking for yourself and like knowing when people are perceiving that you're speaking for them and they don't want you to. And so like I think that that's all part of it. And like can you bounce back from like a foible? Can you bounce back from like a scandal? Or can you bounce back from like a from hostility, and can you make peace with countries? Can you have treaties? Like that's the whole point of this, is that it's like you fought the war, you proved that you can fight wars, you proved that you can win wars, you proved that you can lead nations, you proved that you can lead people. But can you end the war? Can you rule the king? Can you rule a war torn kingdom? And that was what happened with my Minecraft game. I did. I did rule that one war torn kingdom. That was the whole point. And so, like, I think that that's just what it is. That's what the test is. The crown is. That's what the season finale is. They're seeing if I can actually wear the crown. It's one thing to put it on, but it's another thing to actually wear it, and then also to be smart enough to know when to pause it. It's all very beautiful. But then it's also like you had to like to show people as well. Like I'm not just like wearing this crown because like I purely out of obligation or purely out of my own desire. It's a balance of the two. It's like I do genuinely see, I believe and see that it is that I'm most suited to do it, and so that's why I'm doing it. And then secondly, like I also am fully capable of it. So it's like both in both capacities, it is the most correct thing to do. Like is for me to wear this crown. So it's fine. Like it's just like really frustrating because it's like, yes, I am actually suited and equipped to lead. And I am the most suited and equipped to lead. And it's a balance of I actually am suited because so it's like it was half hearted, right? Because it was like initially it was a obligation, 100% pure obligation. It was the same thing that happened when I was in high school and also when I was in college. Like I joined my fraternity, I joined the Patriot totally half-heartedly. It was something like I was going to join the yearbook, and then like somebody altered my course or whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so like what happened is really interesting and kind of why it's so frustrating that like the Jafar, like that's like a fairy gift, and the Jafar gift is like the conversion therapy, because they were kind of like they were kind of trying to associate that with my education, and they were trying to run that like parallel to it. And so like kind of what was happening is that it's kind of what was happening with that, it's like it's really frustrating because it was really frustrating to me that that was happening, because like it was being perceived, like I was being perceived as uh like I was being perceived as um like they were trying to like have this situation happen where like I was joining these like extracurriculars, and I was doing these things, and I was taking on these leadership roles that were not my intention, but then I like fell in love with the craft, and I fell in love with the art. And so like they were trying to kind of like make this false equivalency with the conversion therapy, because that didn't work. Like anytime they tried to alter something that was natural, like my like sexual identity or like my genetic identity, that never worked. That was what the conversion therapy was, and that didn't work. But the when they tried to alter my course, that did work, because that's normal. Like that's what anyone does in life. It's like not everybody knows exactly what their life path is because they haven't been educated and they haven't had the life experience. But that's not a natural thing, and that's the whole point. So they're trying to make this false equivalency, and that's why it was so frustrating, because like I was having this experience of like I am aware that there are people in the world who like at least at one point in time like had more experience than I did, and so like it was beneficial for me and for my leadership for me to like listen to them. But then I also was aware that some people were taking advantage of that and trying to like trick me or like force me to do something that was not beneficial to me or society or anyone. And so like that was why that was so frustrating to me, is because I was like, I totally see that like this is like I'm totally aware that you are trying to like that people are I'm totally aware that people sometimes will like alter a course or something, but like that was what it was. The line was always at genetics. I was like, no, like I'm not gonna do that. Like that was the whole point of why it was so frustrating. Is because I was like, people's genetic identity is what it is. Nature is just what it is, and like it is really like that was what the mistakes that the similar mistakes. Like that was what it was. So it was like that's dumb. I'm not gonna do that. And like that was why it was so frustrating. So it's like I am perfectly willing to I'm perfectly willing, just like Daenerys talking to all of her supplicants. Like I'm perfectly willing to um entertain a perspective that is contrary to my own. But if it's contrary to science, if it's contrary to something provable and observable, then no. Like, and that's not like I don't. I think that that's also good, because that's what's the point of the foundation of the house or any structure, and that's why like we're designing this architecturally, because like that's what's happening. Is that it's like there are some things that are just exactly what they are. The base component of things are just exactly what they are. And so if you have science as the base component of like how you like direct and guide yourself in life, that's what I do anyways. If you have science as like the base component of how you like guide yourself in life and guide yourself through life, then like I think that that's actually more beneficial to everyone, because like then at that point you're kind of like at that point then you're kind of in a position where like you are like at that point you are at a position where like all of the decisions that you're making are intellectual decisions, and then it's kind of like how you're it's kind of like how you have like the topping on ice cream or like the icing on a cake or something. It's like you have to have the base component of it, which is like the flour and whatever the ingredients. But then like and that's like science, because like it's a cake. It's not gonna rise. That's the whole point. I had to rise to the occasion. The cake is not going to rise if it is like not made with the correct ingredients, because that's the point. It's science. But then like you have these like things like these little like aphrodisiacs and like these preferences and stuff. But like I think that that's the whole point of like orientation and preference. It's like there are these things where it's like not everybody is going to like assess this that much, but like again, it was very frustrating for me because it's like I don't really. It's really just a matter of like science. I feel like is like okay, these are all the things that are like necessary to and like vital for the cake to rise. Like this is the like the vital components of what has to happen so that we can like actually like um have like our society function. And so like it's always really frustrating to me because I'm like that was the whole point of that story that I wrote too, the Desmond story, is because like Desmond is a like Desmond is breaking up with like Valerie or whatever because like that's the whole point of the story is he didn't want to be in a relationship with her anyways, and it was like frustrating because like he's just trying to break up with her because he built the Death Star. Like and so like he's trying to break up with her because he has to go and be like the king of the Death Star. And so like he's like super frustrated because like that was a situation that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And so like that was what was happening. It was like all of this petty stuff was happening, and like he is like the king of this like sinking Titanic ship. And he's like, somebody forced me into this like fake relationship and didn't even tell me what it was. I was also kind of unconscious, like, and that was the whole point of my life. Is because it starts at day one. Honestly, it starts at day one on my birth. Is that you will order the princess to marry me? That's where all of this starts. Is that Jasmine is in the palace trying trying literally like everything possible to like have people not try to marry her. That's what all of the like the that's what Jafar is doing, that's what Aladdin is doing, that's what all of the suitors are doing. That's the whole point of the movie is that Jasmine has all of these suitors, but then she also has the merchant trader who is that's how the story begins. Because she likes the merchant trader not because he's trying to sell her stuff or because she's material, but like that's how the palace probably got built in the first place. Is that I was watching the movie and I was like, oh yeah, like the merchant trader, which is probably Disney, or like probably just like the American economy or just the world economy, is was like showing me things, and I was like, oh yeah, I want this and this and that. And when I built the Death Star, I'll wear that crown too. I built this crown out of the sword out of the stone. That's why Jasmine's in there on this like chase lounge because like she pulled the sword out of the stone. That's probably why she's sitting in that fucking palace. That's why the baby arrows outside of the arrow temple because I pulled the sword out of the stone and I was a baby. And so people kept trying to have these suitors, and it says like she refuses to marry, and it's like, what are you talking about? I was a fucking baby. It's like what the fuck. And so like also Sleeping Beauty is a story where like it's all happens at once, and then like the film is made, which is like a trajectory of that person's whole life. Um, and so like that was kind of what happened with Aladdin. Is that was like a prophecy kind of, where that was a like projection of what they thought my life was going to play out like. And then that did actually happen. I do refuse to marry, but like I think that that was the whole point. Is that it was like it's not that I don't. I refused to marry for advantage, and that was the whole point of why it took a while for people to like acknowledge that because they were trying to have me have these suitors and stuff, and I was like, I'm not interested in this, thank you. And it was largely because it was stupid. I was like, I don't want to like. I was like, I'm not interested in being a like not suitable ruler. And so it's like I pulled the sword out of the stone, and like I was like, yeah, I don't mind that I have to pull the sword out of the stone. That's totally fine. But it was really frustrating to me because I was like, I don't need this stuff. Like, I don't need these suitors. I don't need you to have me have a baby. I only need to have sex like every 3 years. Like, I actually don't need to have sex at all. I just like kissing. I don't even really need to do that often. You guys keep trying to like have my brother, like have me in this incestuous relationship with my brother. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I have no interest and like fucking my brother. I was like, this is disgusting. And so like all of this stuff was happening. I was like, this is super dumb. It's like I think a lot of this stuff is funny, but I'm not about to do that. That's the whole point of Topsy Turvy Day. But like that was what was happening. So I was like battling your like I was battling this like conservative like liberal battle that was happening in my life with Pinocchio and Jafar and Genie. And then like Robin Williams died, and people were like, "Oh, why aren't you sad?" I'm like, "I don't fucking care, because I didn't fucking care. That was just some person who lived in my fucking palace." So it's like, why the fuck would I care that this fucking like badass genie died? What the fuck? And so like that was the whole point of the story. I was like, this is stupid. I was like, I'm a king. It's like, shut the fuck up. That was the whole point of the story. I was like, you guys are so fucking retarded. You guys are so fucking stupid, immature. And I was like, you guys are fucking dumb as hell. And like that was the whole point. It says like, I had to come and do this like star battle because I had seen these things, so I didn't necessarily know what they were. But I was like, oh, that's fine. I was like, that's totally fine. Because I like wearing the crown. It's fun. But I'm also like, I like, there are people who like enjoy their jobs. That's the whole point. Like, you don't enjoy like menial labor, but you do enjoy like a career and you do enjoy work. And like, your work is king. That was the whole point of what happened with Riley. And like Simba. It was like, that was the whole point of that. I didn't even realize that that story was a Lion King story. And that was the whole point. It was like beast, because I like unbeasted myself. That was actually the point of that movie. But yeah, so like that was what happened. Is that it's the like that was what that was. It was really fun because like the Lion King aspect of the movie is that it's like they were saying, yeah, well, he doesn't really want to be king. It sounds like a lot of work, and I was like, yeah, but like it only sounds like that because it's a dam, and so it's like I like work, but I don't want to marry anyone because I want to be like a Queen Elizabeth I Victorian age like Jasmine bitch queen. And so like that was the whole point of what was happening. It's like I didn't mind like people depicting me as like a queen when it wasn't like a relationship thing because I was like I don't need that. Like I don't want to be bogged down by some stupid dumbass like nigger or from some fucking dumbass like little girl or like some fucking dumbass like little boy who's like has like action figures or something. I'm like shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm like you're so fucking retarded. I don't have to waste my fucking energy like fucking censoring myself because of your fucking stupid like grandma or because of your fucking stupid kid and his fucking dumbass like action figures. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm like, this is so stupid. That was the whole point of why this shit wasn't working. I was like, you guys are fucking retarded. And that was why I was like, this is so dumb. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I was like, I'm not gonna do literally any of that. Just like, this is so dumb as fuck. Oh, how many eggs are this? How many eggs are here? But yeah, like that's what it is. I like work, but that was the whole point of what was happening. Is that like I was just like, this is really dumb. And like maybe that's also kind of what it is though, because like some of these relationships are relationships of convenience, and so like what happened is that like they had to marry people because they needed to procreate or something, and like they only needed to procreate because they weren't as capable on their own. So like this baby who could do like all of the things that anybody presented him with, like I was like I don't need that, like I don't need these things. So it's like I don't need a husband, I don't need a wife, I don't really need any of this stuff. And so like that was why it was so frustrating, just because I was like, I like very much would like to be your king because like you want me to do that, and I'm well suited to it. But like, like that's just what's happening. It's just like when I went to that's what she said, 70 of power. It's like when I went to the Sprint store and then like they like my power like made it white, which I didn't even know that I did that. But like that was the whole point, is that like I only didn't know these things because jealous people were gaslighting me about it. And so like I think that that was the whole point of the story, is that like there were these people who were like I was like perfectly capable, and like it was really frustrating because like I didn't really need a lot of the stuff that people were trying to like force on me. And so like I was like super frustrated by that because I was like, this is super dumb. And like yeah, of course you do need like my like I'm a very likable person, and so like I wasn't having children, but people were, like the lionesses were. And so like I think that that's why it's important, because like the people who were following me, who were then subsequently making the things that I was who were then like subsequently making the like like kind of like operating the world as I was like designing it, because like I that's pretty much what's been happening. Is That's why I made some graphic design. It's because I was designing the world literally, and I'm a great designer. It's true. And so like I was designing the world, and everybody else was kind of executing that, like the designs that I was like designing. But I think that that was what it was. It's because I was a gay king, just like Wart. It was probably implied that Wart in Sword in the Stone is gay as well. That's why he's not married. at the end of the movie, and he's also a child. And so like that was what was happening with Jasmine is they built that dam for no reason because like I think that that was the point of my movie is like had they not built the dam or had I not had a twin possibly like maybe it would have played out not maybe it wouldn't have played out the same because I think that that might have only happened I think that that might have only happened because like they like the whole point of the Sword in the Stone movie is that it's like he's not in a relationship, and so like his tutelage in that movie is kind of a complete film, and he becomes the king at the end of that film, like and that all happens within that one space of time. But in Aladdin, like there is a Sword in the Stone aspect of the film, but you don't like the audience does not know that that is what the film is because of the Jafar trick and the Maleficent gift and the Jafar trick and the Sleeping Beauty thing. So I think that that's what's in the Wish movie is that it's like we all just learned a very horrible truth and a very kind of like demoralizing truth for little girls that like all of the suitors, male or female, like the suitors and like the people that they were trying to have me have because I don't fuck with gender bending. So like the suitors and like the women that they were trying to force me to marry, all of that was a Jafar trick. That was what we just learned. Is that everybody that they were trying to force me to marry, that was a trick. Because Wart in The Sword in the Stone becomes the king in that movie. He pulls the sword out of the stone in that movie, and he becomes king in that movie. That does not happen in Aladdin, and that is because of the Jafar Maleficent trick. That's what we just learned. So we're gonna arrive to the crown, and that's like what we're gonna present. Is that it's like America has just learned that they have had a king this whole time, and that somebody tricked them, and they were trying to, because they were trying to uh, destabilize um, like America's like royalty. That was actually the whole point of what happened. Is that like they learned that the dam was a trick in Frozen 2, but not everybody knew what that meant, and not everybody knew what happened and why it happened, like exactly what it was that how we got tricked and why we got tricked and who it was that was like the target. And so like now you do know it's me. I was the target and they were because they were trying to kill me. And like they were trying to destabilize our whole country. That's why it's important. That's why it was important that I, like the Titanic, was telling people that whole time that like you guys were wasting a bunch of time and energy. And that was the whole point of Two Worlds, One Family. That was the whole point of Strange World, and probably also the Wish film, is that that was actually what was happening. Like, had this damsel situation not happened, like the Aladdin film probably would have played out. The Aladdin film probably would have played out with like me being like they would have visually represented that I pulled the sword out of the stone and was the king, but they didn't do that because of the Jafar Maleficent gift. That was the whole point of the movie. And that also makes sense because that was what was happening in Maleficent or in Sleeping Beauty. Is that that's the same kingdom, and so like somebody from that kingdom was sabotaging the person who pulled the sword out of the stone in Aladdin, me, because they were jealous, probably. So like that's what was happening. We figured it out. It's fine. All right, the Crown season 6 finale series finale.